talking to you because we're recording
Okay.
now. Anyway, lovely. We're now recording. It's lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Debbie.
So tell me, you know what? You're the first person I've spoken to that actually has come through COVID and has been sick with it. So you're in San Diego, yes?
Yeah.
You are. So tell me the story. You're a nurse, is that right?
So I'm a nursing assistant. I work on like a local nursing home.
Yes.
Taking care of people who's recovering and,
Oh.
old people. So as far as I know, I got the COVID.
Yeah. Sorry. Exactly what happened?
So I honestly, personally, I honestly don't know how I got it. So when I got it, they have to test me for COVID, at the hospital, and the Department of Health went to my workplace, and they have to notify, the place where I work, just in case someone, got it or anything. But when, the last time I spoke to my coworkers, thank God no one, there's no COVID, cases where I work. So I don't think I got it from my workplace. But I've been hearing a lot this past few days that some nursing homes, they got COVID patients.
Yes.
So what happened?
Okay, so what were your symptoms like?
So what happened was, I think March, it was early March. I was helping a friend who's a photographer, and, I do some, wedding photography on the side. I got home and I started feeling chills. Like I've never felt that chill before. So after the gig, I went home, straight to bed, bundled up, like at least 3, comforter, because I was shaking like crazy. And I was like, what is this, And I was sweating. The next day, I went to work, took a shower, but I was feeling lethargic. But, I was asking them if I could just, go home because I was feeling sick. So they checked my temperature. It was normal. Like, because I work from 3 to 11 p.m. I work as a nursing assistant. I work PM shift. But towards the end of the day, my temperature started rising to like 101. So I was just taking, Tylenol to keep the temperature, go down. Since, that time, coronavirus was not really, it's not as big as what, like right now. Like I think, the last time I checked, there's like 1 million cases here in the United States. So back before then, all the things that I'm hearing about coronavirus is, it was in Italy, China. So I did not, I didn't thought about, this is a coronavirus. So yes. I went to the urgent care the next day. So they tested me for flu, but the test came off negative. So they sent me home. And then the next day I went back to a different urgent care. They tested me again with flu, and it came out negative, but they prescribed me Tamiflu.
And why weren't they testing you for COVID at that point?
That was a very good question, Debbie, because when their protocol is they ask you if you traveled outside United States.
Okay.
And if you did, I think that's the only time they would do something about it. But I haven't traveled outside United States.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I haven't traveled out of San Diego.
Okay.
So they were not, that's the very first thing that, hospitals here ask, if you traveled outside of United States.
Okay.
So fast forward, I took the Tamiflu, it's not working. Friday, I went back to a different urgent care, but this time they did like an x-ray.
Right.
And surprisingly, they found a pneumonia on my lungs. Both lungs was showing like, I'm not very, I don't know the medical thing, but she just showed me like it's white. So the doctor told me like you have pneumonia. So they prescribed me antibiotics. And the next day, my mom convinced me to go to this time emergency at the hospital, because my temperature is not going down and it's been a week. So in the hospital, no one is allowed to go inside the hospital. So they built like a tent outside the hospital. So I think their own, it's precaution. So the usual, they check my vitals. I sat down and waited for the doctor, but the doctor didn't come, but instead they pulled me inside the hospital, one of those waiting room, like, it's all glass, I remember.
Sorry, Don, one question. What date was this? What date?
This was Saturday.
What date? What date?
Oh, March 14.
March 14th. Okay.
Yeah. So March 14, I was at the hospital. They changed my gown to like a hospital gown. They put an oxygen on me and they started me with antibiotics, IVs, because of my pneumonia. So at first they were, they don't know what to do with me. Like, I think I overheard that the doctor wanted to discharge me or something. And then another doctor said that, no, you can't discharge him. It might be coronavirus. So there's like a mirror that separates me and the people outside. So I got a phone call and it was a doctor, and he told me like, Don, I want you to put your mask back on. There's gonna be people who's gonna transfer you in the fourth floor. They're gonna be on hazmat. And I'm like, at that point, I was scared, like what's going on? I thought I just had pneumonia. So they transferred me upstairs. So upstairs, the fourth floor was the ICU, where the beds are separated with like tiny cubicles. Okay. And they're all like, it's called negative pressure room. So okay. Like there's a machine, and then there's like 2 doors before you go into my bed. So I was there, shortness of breath. I was not feeling any shortness of breath, like what they were, talking about, like some of the symptoms. But I know, like, I was feeling, like tired and weak, and, my fever was very high. So they tested me for COVID. So they did the exact same test, like, like how they tested me for flu.
Yes. So
that night, I spent the night at the hospital. At this point, because I like towards the night, I was coughing. When I was coughing, it was pinkish. So I got scared because I think it was, it has a mixture of blood that's coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
And the nurse just said like, yeah, that's good. Just keep coughing out the mucus. So I went to sleep, but actually my good friend works at that hospital, and he was an emergency nurse. And at that point, all of these, they just told me afterwards. They said that we need to call the doctor, as soon as possible, because I did not know that the nurse started increasing my oxygen requirement because my O2, the machine that they put on the finger,
yes,
dropping. So I was hitting 80s at this point. The next day, March 15th, early in the morning, I remember I was sleeping. The doctor woke me up. There was 4 people inside my cubicle, and the doctor said, they're all wearing hazmat. And then the doctor said, Mr. Udan, this is Dr. Wen. And he said, your lungs is not doing well. Unfortunately, we have to intubate you and put you to sleep. And at that point, I was like, I was speechless, Debbie. I don't know what to do. I've only seen intubation like in TV.
I didn't realize that intubation meant that they had to put you into a coma till all of this happened.
Honestly, I just woke up. That the first thing I heard, and I was like, what, like what's going on? So my friend, I saw him outside. He was talking to the doctor, and I was trying to call his attention, but he was not looking at me. And I texted him. I said, am I gonna die? And I was so scared, I called my mom. My mom called my uncle, who's a nurse, and he called me and he said, it's okay, Dawn, they're just gonna do their job. And the nurse, told me like, just grab my hands. So they started putting, sedating me. And after that, I don't remember anything anymore. But I'll tell you what happened. I woke up April 8th.
Oh my God.
And the nurse is like giving me a bed bath. And there, I remember there's this board in front of, my room where they put who's the nurse name, the doctor's name, who's the charge nurse, and there's a date. And I was like, April 8th? What happened? And the
You went to
nurse
sleep
said,
on March the 15th.
yeah. I was like, what happened? And the nurse said, you were sleeping for 18 days. You were intubated
Oh my
and
God.
sedated. And I look up on my phone, there's a lot of messages. They keep texting me, keep fighting. I know you're going to get through this. We're praying
Oh,
for
poor
you.
mother.
I was shocked. I
My
was
God.
very shocked. And so my friend told me everything what happened. So what happened was I developed a condition called ARDS. It's an acronym for Acute Respiratory Distress Syndrome. So basically the virus attacked my lungs.
Okay.
And my lungs, I guess, my immune system went overdrive and they started, fluid started accumulating on my lungs. So they ended up putting me on this thing called a prone bed. So it was, if you look in, Google, it's like a bed that turns you.
Turned you
So
over. Yeah.
yeah. So he told me that I was on that prone bed for 15 days, heavily sedated. And then, he told me that I actually aspirated because the goal is to get out of, for me to get out of the ventilator.
Yes.
So it was a roller coaster because they, one day I'll get better. The next day I'll decline.
Okay.
The next day I'll get better. The next day I'll decline. So it was really a roller coaster, and my friend told me like one day you actually aspirated, so we need to suction you. And then so at that point, the point of contact was my sister. She lives in a different states. My parents got the COVID too, but it was not as severe as what happened to me. They
Okay.
just got the fever. They lost their sense of taste and smell. So my sister and my friend who works at the hospital became the point of contact because they don't want my parents to worry because they're trying to recover from it.
Yes.
And then she told me like, the nurse told us that, they didn't know that I'm going to make it. So they said, just prepare for the worst because that's how sick I was.
My God.
It was really terrible.
And then you pulled through it, Don. You
I
pulled
did,
through.
thank God I survived. And I've been hearing a lot that a lot of people who get into ICU do all this crazy damage on their kidney, their liver.
Yes.
But, as a matter of fact, I just got my lab works 2 days ago and everything is normal. So
Fantastic. Oh my God. Well, we can't keep going on with this conversation because I would just want to put it up, post it, and if it goes on too long, I can't. But I just want to say,
okay.
where are you from originally, Don? Where were you born?
No, I was born in the Philippines.
You were born in the Philippines. Okay. So how has the Philippines been as a matter of interest? They've been very quiet about it, haven't they?
Yeah, I spoke to my brother and it seems like they're doing a good job. Like they're very strict with, the lockdown.
Yes.
They're taking it seriously as far
Okay.
as I know. Um, uh, there's not much cases compared to United States. Uh,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we were all shocked at, Don, here at one stage around maybe the 20th of March, I think, when it showed the flight patterns all over Europe of all the aircrafts. And maybe later, maybe the 1st of April, and there was hardly any airplanes flying. There's an app you can get on your phone and you can watch the aircrafts. And there was hardly a plane flying over Europe. And over America, there was thousands of planes flying. And we were all shocked looking at this because America was still letting people in, letting people out. There seemed to be no early controls over it at all. So like, it's shocking really, but I suppose our nursing homes, Don, as well, by the way, were our most vulnerable people, where our older people all are. They were affected very badly all across the world. And this is why they have
yeah.
now all our nursing home staff are all in their PPE gear,
Mm-hmm.
But I just really want to say, like, did you lose a load of weight In the
I
18
did.
days, you
I did.
must have.
I lost 40 pounds.
You're joking.
I'm not. I was shocked when I saw myself in the mirror. I was like again, I was speechless.
My God. Well, look, I'll tell you what. First of all, you're my hero because you're looking after old people in a nursing home. What a beautiful,
Thank you.
you know, in Ireland, we'd be completely lost without Filipino nurses because they came into Ireland maybe about 10 years ago. They started coming in and they're in all of our hospitals. They're the most beautiful people you could meet. They're so pleasant and so beautiful. Ireland would be completely lost without Filipino nurses that are in our hospitals. But you're my hero from that point of view. But also the fact that you have survived COVID, you know, there's another gold medal for you. So, you
Yeah.
know, well done. You know, so from us here in Ireland, well done. You look gorgeous. You've the most gorgeous English accent. You've the most gorgeous voice. Your English is beautiful. It's so nice to meet you. And listen, all I can say is I wish you all the best. You're obviously you're going to recover now and you have a lovely summer.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been recovering, but I don't think I could work anytime soon yet because, being in the ICU, there's a lot of muscle atrophy that happens. So I
Yes.
still feel weak, but, I started, basically went, started trying to start, square one.
Yes.
So, I started walking every morning and eating,
Well,
really
John, you're
good.
in beautiful San Diego. Go to the beach every day, go and swim, and give yourself a break after what your body's been through.
Yeah. It's just scary because, we drove around and some people are not wearing masks. And I think that's it's just upsetting me because, you know, social distancing, wearing masks, it's just as simple as, following that rule. But, I still see people who's not wearing masks. And it's kind of upsetting because considering, like all these nurses, doctors trying to heal people who got affected by COVID, and a lot of people have died from it. It's just, it's just kind of like a slap on the face. Like, like
Yes.
there's a lot of people dying. And, I do believe that we really need to,
Take it
act
more
as soon as
seriously.
possible in order for this nasty disease to go away. Like right now, there's no vaccine and,
Yeah.
like they
And
don't,
won't be for another 12 months, they're saying, you know?
yeah, but, I'm very hopeful that, maybe it could be expedited because the virus is just so weird. It affects people differently.
Yes, I
You know?
know. Some people get a little bit of a cold and that's it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So, but listen to me, all I can say is now you're my absolute hero you're definitely my hero completely. And thank you for all the beautiful work you're doing in America. Don, you're fantastic. Take a few weeks off and go and feed yourself up and get a sun and go and swim every day and have a fabulous summer. If you can
Thank
afford
you.
to, don't go back to work for a few months.
Yeah.
Tell Jonathan to
Thank
feed you. Tell Jonathan Bell to give you dinner every day and feed you Irish potatoes. You need potatoes every day to fatten you back up because Irish. Well, listen, it's
Yeah.
lovely to talk to you. It's so nice to meet you, and I'm honoured and I'm so thrilled that you're better and you're on the mend.
Thank you, Debbie.
So thank you so much.
Take care.
Just gorgeous to meet you, John. Lovely to talk
You
to you.
too.
Bye bye from Ireland.
Bye.